Stay calm.
I'm looking for a key. You seen it? No. Well, that leaves little Becky. Where's Becky?
There once was a little girl.
Becky!
And she was good.
Stop running!
She was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was horrible.
Becky! You're clearly a special girl!
I don't want to have to hurt you.
But I do want to hurt you real bad.
Good evening and welcome to UPRE. Tonight, in another chapter of A Woman Scorned Month. Tonight we're reviewing Becky from 2020, my pick. I also have the executive consultant.
Really not how it's supposed to go, but
with me. Oh, I'll get into it. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. Vic, come on in here, ladies and gentlemen. UPRE right now. All right.
Now, I chose this movie for A Woman Scorned because, one, usually with a woman scorned type movies, you get like a torrid love affair, right? And there's a hot guy with abs and arms, and there's this lustful lady who, you know, gets turned down or gets too clingy and he has to break it off. And then she just, you know, gets mad and wants her vengeance. Well, in this A Woman Scorned, the woman is a young lady named Becky. And the way she gets scorned is through violence by some intruders for some reason. We never really find out why. I mean, we know why, but we don't know why. Anyway, so I chose this because it's like a nice, unique spin on A Woman Scorned because it's a kid and, you know, non-sexual whatsoever, but extremely violent, which I love.
Extremely violent is absolutely right. This movie is not for kids, even though it's starring pretty much a 13-year-old kid. Yeah, Vic, you want to elaborate more into that?
Well, you know, the funny thing with this movie is that the title brought me back to the 2010s, and it just brought me back to an amazing time in my life because there was just the name. Just that name was just synonymous with a lot of things that went on in that time.
In your life.
But anyway, with that being said, that was in my mind the whole day. I was listening to the song the whole day. It was a Neo worm today. And I was just thinking about that, honestly. Then I saw this movie. And wow. Ha! This little girl. No, here's the thing. At first, I was a little bored. I'm not gonna lie. And then, as soon as I saw the eye socket part, whoa, whoa! I got a feeling. And mind you, and here's the thing. Like, I was really shocked by Kevin James because I've never seen him in a role like that, like as a mega heel, like a real bad guy. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like that whole thing, him cutting his own eye out, it was extra gory, but it was really badass. I'm sure that when he saw that script, that's probably what brought him in because that was crazy. That just made me like go like, you know what I mean? Because yeah. That really brought me into the movie, and then for the rest of the movie, I was just wanting to see what this child is going to do next. It brought me feelings of Problem Child. One day we're going to bring that movie. Another movie, Home Alone, clearly, you know what I mean? And I loved the fact that she used the woods and she used nails and she used trees and she used fishing wire and she popped all of them, you know? And then and she was so badass that even at the end, when you thought she was going to have some sympathy, wow. It was very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm not going to lie. I was entertained.
I was too. So basically, Becky is this young lady. She's just lost her mother a year ago, and her dad has moved on now. He's dating this lady who has a kid, and they're wanting to join families. So she's going through it at school. She's kind of a badass. But he decides, hey, we're going to go on a family vacation. And the family vacation goes so wrong when some intruders, racist Aryan convicts led by Kevin James, go hunting in there. And I don't really even know what's going on with the dad and them, because he was involved in something with them. And it kind of alludes to that, but we don't really get any clarity around what is going on and why they know where the key is and why the key is there. Anyway, this leads to a bunch of very, very gruesome retaliation from Becky, as her family is held captive by these intruders. This was insane. I really loved that it was a young lady. I loved that she was like, not quite a teenager, still kind of childlike. But she was so resourceful.
I'm sorry.
She was so resourceful. Like, she was like a violent MacGyver, or like a Marine or something. Like, it felt like she has been highly trained. And I love movies where there's like, a kid and some scientists, and they've trained them to be an elite assassin of some sort. Nobody trained her though. She's out here with no training wheels, just stabbing and cutting. And even even her, she just has ingenuity, like with her distractions. It doesn't always lead to violence. Obviously leads to violence, but it's like she strategizes what she's gonna do. She doesn't just go out here, like she's thinking methodically about how she's gonna trip up whoever she comes upon next. She was just always one step ahead of all of the goons, and I just thought that was so cool, man. Now, I don't know, is she gonna get in trouble for doing all that murdering? I think she's gonna, be in for a lot of therapy, court mandated. But yeah, man, she's a freaking hero. I thought that was so awesome. Like, she really kicked ass, and what really sat well with me about this movie is that none of it felt like it was for the male gaze. It was just about action.
Yes.
And that's something I can appreciate, because who doesn't love tits bouncing? But this is a kid and she's kicking ass, and I love that too. So yeah.
Well, glad you two enjoyed this movie. Let's talk about it. Let's get it down. I am a father of two girls, right? So when I see this movie and I see the way young lady Becky was coming out of her mouth with the yakety yak to Pops, I got issues. Okay, let's cut the gruesomeness aside. Let's cut Kevin James aside. Clearly Becky did. Let's just take it all out, right? Her mouth with that Waka Flocka was so freaking disrespectful, I could not stand it. And I'm talking about not to the Aryans and the guys and all that stuff. I'm talking about Pops. Pops, right? Even in the car, she was talking to him like she was a grown adult. She ain't got no business to be doing all that. I understand you might have a little animosity with with Pop's new boo, but you were being really disrespectful when she was being nice to you. You were being disrespectful to the kid when the kid was actually a pretty polite guy. And you over here with that Waka Flocka, turning on the radio, not looking at me. I can't stand that. Don't you go look at me when I'm talking to you, little girl. 13 years old with all that Waka Flocka. I couldn't stand it. Child had some issues. And because of that, I have to give a thumbs down to the father. How the father are you? You should have been slapped that girl to a preschool or something. Like, there was an issue there because she obviously was mentally screwed up before she started murdering people. I got issues with that. That was crazy to me. It was a little crazy to me. Okay. That being said, there were some good scenes in this movie. I'll elaborate more on the final thoughts, but there were some good scenes in this movie. And I thought the movie was well casted. I mean, Kevin James, you did a great job, bro. I was a little surprised because, as Vic said, you were playing the same characters in almost all your movies with this comedy, laugh. Still remember me from Hitchman. It's one of my favorite movies. So good job of you for making me believe you were a villain. I still saw the comedy. It still looked like a struggle, but you did a good job, man. You did a good job.
You know what? You know what? Here's the thing with that. That eye-popping thing was
I know, yes,
hilarious at the same time. The fact that they couldn't cut the eye with the scissors,
with the kids, the child scissors.
He was
like, "Are you effing kidding me?" Child scissors.
That was great.
Yeah, I was very audible during that part. I was it was very like jolting. And they did not spare us whatsoever. Like they got in there, the sound effects, the screaming, it was just very, very well done. It felt very real. I was like, oh my God, I never wanted to know anything about my eye autonomy, optical autonomy, anatomy.
Chris, can I vote for a movie I want a choice? Can I vote to see 13 Ghosts? Yeah, of course. You can see that.
To see that ghost with boobs.
We're not preventing you from seeing. We're not preventing you from seeing 13 Ghosts. If you want to go see it, go see it. All right, Charmaine, you have my permission. All right. That brings me to this.
Yeah, you're stupid, man.
What are you talking about?
I know who I am. I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
You want answers?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Why so serious?
Bond. James Bond.
Show me the money!
You know, I love my quotes, and it was hard for me to find a quote in this little debacle known as a movie that E picked today. But I was able to search and found a quote. Want to hear it? Here it goes. There was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very good. But when she was bad, she was horrid. And that's how I feel about this movie. Any more things we have to talk about before we get into final thoughts?
Oh my God.
No.
Oh, yeah, really? I mean, everyone's seen 13 Ghosts. I see 13 Ghosts every time I visit New York. All right, ladies and gentlemen, find out what we're reviewing next Tuesday. Find out what we're reviewing next Thursday. We'll be right back with our final thoughts. You're watching Unpopular Review. Stay home.
You know.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
It's a trap.
You're a genius.
Riddler and Two-Face can make a pretty lethal combination. Train me, let me be your partner.
Who's your tailor?
But first,
The real game begins.
Police 911, where's your emergency?
Oh, no! 911, where's your emergency?
Do not hurt that little girl. You don't have to do this.
It's already done. It's already done.
It's the same man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with this movie called Becky, Woman Scorn Month, and this is a pick by E Boogie. Next Thursday, join us for my pick, which is Halle Berry's starred movie, The Call. And, of course, next Tuesday, we continue our Batman movie franchise leading up to the Batman with Batman Forever, the third one in this particular franchise. Hey, one of my favorite ones we're going to talk about because it's a very controversial one, very polarizing movie. A lot of people did not like it, and a lot of people did like it, so can't wait to talk about it. This coming Tuesday, once again, we're talking about Becky, A lot of interesting thoughts and tales that was said earlier in this the night from Boog over there, from Vic down there. Now we're going to get into our final thoughts. Boog, we'll start with you. Since it's your movie, what do you give this movie? Thumbs up, thumbs down, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. She's badass. This movie was cool. Very, it's like one of those blockbuster night Jones, cuddling up with your boo, trying to get some action, trying to see some action. I think that it's entertaining. Watchability very low. Rewatchability is very low, but glad I watched it. It's very entertaining, super cool. And go Kevin James. Want to see him in more serious roles. Thumbs up for me.
All right, that's one thumbs up from E Boogie for the movie she picked. Not biased at all. Vix, your turn. Thumbs up, thumbs down, final thoughts.
Okay, so from the beginning, you get a whole bunch of little snippets of things that might have happened in the past. The relationship with the mother, the father's involvement, whatever the father's involvement is. I have a feeling that a lot of these things are going to unravel in the sequel. Because especially with the way that the movie ended. Just that look on her face is so badass. I would love to see Becky go to another place and do that. But here's the reason why I think she was able to do all of this stuff. Why? Because in the beginning of the movie, one of the main arguments was that she thought the property was going to be sold. Clearly, she has history in this property. They don't necessarily show what that history is. So they definitely can fill an enormous amount of story arc in here in the sequel to find out what's going on. And plus, you only see her in court in the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie. Therefore, I definitely have a feeling that this may end up being, a bigger thing. You know what I mean? And Becky too. From the beginning, because of the word Becky, I was thinking about BJ's because, in my 20s, it was all about give me that. But I'm happy that I saw this movie because it's very, very, very fun. And I really want to see what else Becky does because Becky was cool. Even she was hitting people with nails and she knew where those nails were. She knew what the fishing wire was. She knew where everything was. She knew the ins and outs of that property. Fuck with Becky, bro. She's what? It was great. Anyway, thumbs up.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thumbs up from Vic. Thumbs up from Boog. Wonder what the executive consultant's going to get this. First thing I want to address is, this is how I felt watching this movie. First thing I want to address is Vic said this movie's going to get a sequel. Vic, I know you want to give every movie a sequel, every commercial a sequel. This figure, do you know what figure this is?
How much the movie made?
Exactly. 1,045,873.
During COVID.
Still
the height of COVID at that.
Still not.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What was the budget for this movie though?
Good question.
What was the budget? Listen, there was no CGI. There was none of that. Shorty was killing people with nails and pencils.
I mean, Joel McHale will pretty much do anything, and he was only in it for a little bit.
I bet you the most expensive part was the whole eye part.
Yeah, they blew their budget on that. That was hilarious.
You know what I mean?
And the dogs, they were very well trained. I was proud of them. We didn't talk about the dog getting punched in the face. We didn't talk about the dog getting punched in the face and I'm surprised Chris didn't bring that up because that seems like something he would do.
You could give me time. I don't have the numbers of how much this movie made. I will say when this movie came out during the height of COVID, it opened up at number 13.
So a lot of people saw it.
No.
According to statistics as understood by the executive consultant.
Look, all I'm saying is, okay, the dog getting punched in the face and myself watching this movie had a lot in common, right? Because we were both going up to this movie, all right, going up to somebody in this movie, and then bam, you're knocked out, right? Because I watched this thing at like 5 o'clock.
I wish.
I'm sure you do. I watched this thing at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was.
How you gonna So you put yourself in a position to not enjoy it by watching it at 5 a.m.
Facts.
Huh?
You know what I love, ladies and gentlemen, about being on the show, UPRE? Every time the executive consultant goes, he gets interrupted with his thoughts, right? He's always quiet when they're going. He's giving them respect to let them have their thoughts. And when he goes, oh, yeah, I wish he get punched in the face. This one's violent to me. I don't understand what the problem is. I'm reporting you to HR, so you're going to have to answer the seat. Right? But whatever, neither here nor there. This movie was dumb as hell. Okay? This movie was dumb as hell. This movie was very, very, very disrespectful. Thumbs up for me. Because at the end of the day, though, I enjoyed it. And I'll tell you why. Right? One, I was teetering back and forth. Not like New Mutants. It was thumbs down the entire time. But I was teetering back and forth about this movie, whether it was good or bad, or enjoyable, I should say, because it was not good. But enjoyable, because that's my criteria. And then I saw an eye scene. And I didn't know how brutal that eye scene was until he reached the kitchen. Because I thought it was just a key in the eye socket. I was like, okay, something I can, I can deal with that. But turn that shit off. But, right, I'll say this. That when I saw the eye coming out, Rey Mysterio, when I saw the eye coming out, I was like, oh my God. And this is something I've never done in all my years of living. I actually cringed a little and could not look at the TV. All right. So when that happened, I was like, okay, this movie's earned my respect because I've never done that before. I've seen Saw, I've seen Hostel, I've seen a whole bunch of people do a whole bunch of different killings in these movies. Whether it's a horror movie or action movie, I've never seen the eye socket come out and it made me like, oh, I can't watch this.
Thanks.
So it earns my respect. And that's why I said it's going to get a thumbs up. When I actually said, oh, I might clap at the same time, was at the end when after Becky mowed over Kevin James' head like it was a lawn, right? The dude was about to apologize in his boring voice, and she just shot him. I was like, oh my God, that was great. I want to apologize. I was saying, even though he was like, I felt bad about killing the two kids, so I saved you a few times, and this person, she said, fuck you.
I had a feeling you'd love that.
I finished it. It was great. I loved it. The 1 second it was one of the greatest scenes I've seen all year. I know it was only February, but still, one of the greatest scenes I've seen all year. I loved it. I could watch that scene again. She shot right in the head. It was beautiful.
He's all like, maybe by saving you, I could.
Yeah, nah. That's what I said. That's what I was like.
He was like, no F given. No loose ends. You're dead. You're dead. Everybody gets his work. Great time. Great movie. E, I'm actually surprised you actually picked a good movie. Charmaine wants to give a yawn. Charmaine wants to say, did you saw the movie The Monster? Charmaine wants to say thumbs down. Charmaine wants to say Z's. And Charmaine says because the movie is whack. But what is in fact, you're the only one to comment it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us here at UPRE. For Vic down there, for Books over to my right, I'm the executive consultant. We will see you right here back on Tuesday. Hey, check out One Tree Hill. Our show, not the show, because the show sucks. But check out One Tree Hill. Anyway, next Tuesday, back here, Batman Forever. Hopefully, E doesn't duck this Batman movie. We'll see you next time here at UPRE. Have a good night, everybody.